Because it's the perfect camp spot. Are you supposed to line up stones and do rituals? I don't understand. Magic the Gathering or something? People might lose their minds here because there's about to be a man, me, randomly walking out of the woods here. But if you were to like do something on this, you know, that was disgraceful, you might walk away with the curse. So there was a family at that overlook. I didn't record it, but there was a family there. And I'm literally just coming straight out of the woods and they just kind of look at me like, what the fudge? Nice, look at this campsite. Not really a campsite, but almost even better. Definitely a fishing spot. We are on a deer trail through the park. This is not really your typical trail here, but let's see where it leads. Watch, we stumble upon someone's secret fishing spot and they get all pissed off. So we're barely even a quarter mile in. We've already reached a stopping point here where there's quite a bit of fallen trees blocking the way. As we come up here a little bit, we can go to the right or left. The left looks a lot easier, so we're gonna go left. So just a quick overview, we are at Yellow Banks Park, and behind us is the Des Moines River. Dang, I just found a nice overlook here. It's a pretty steep bluff too. In the winter, this overlook would actually be pretty epic. This is actually way more beautiful than I anticipated it would be. Another nice overlook. Watch your feet. Wouldn't be one bit surprised if DNR sat up in places like this with their binoculars covered in full ghillie suits, just waiting to bust a fisherman or something. Okay, here we go. Let's make a coffee up here. I think this would be a great place for a coffee. Okay, beautiful spot, but we're moving on. One last look. People might lose their minds here because there's about to be a man, me, randomly walking out of the woods here, out of seemingly nowhere. Here we go. spooky. Let's see if we can find this ancient Indian burial mound. I'll show you guys an Iowa burial mound. So this is the Indian burial mound. I believe it's legal to at least walk on it. You can see, I had kind of explained this in another video of mine, exploring a state park and still city camping. A lot of these were destroyed because farmers didn't, they just thought they were hills. And you know, here's an example as to why you can see why people would think that. I mean, this looks like a hill. They're not always very obvious. They're very subtle. But if you were to like do something on this, you know, that was disgraceful, you might walk away with the curse. Indian burial mound under a beautiful tree. You know, I am also going to tell you a fun fact about these burial mounds before we end this clip. We're near the top of the valley. The river is about 100 feet below. The Indians, from what I understand, built them as high as they could on the highest land to be closer to the gods in the sky. So, fun fact for you. That's why you'll also always kind of find them near the top of the land. Anyone know what FTP means? I imagine it means for the people. Somebody wasn't happy about the $60 per night fee. Pretty awesome place for hammock camping. Would you look at this, folks? This is why I love exploring random areas, because you really just never know what you're going to find. I mean, it's better than what I can make. No doubt about that. Watch, somebody just sets up camp there and just starts using all that for firewood. Could you imagine? Man, there's some really, really beautiful, impressive forest. These are large trees out here. For Iowa, anyway. This place reminds me a lot of Brushy Creek. This is really, really identical to Brushy Creek in the Boone Forks Wilderness in terms of how this area looks. You guys want to know the quickest way to really make a park ranger mad? If you're ever in a state park and you're going through a river, you got to do your research, because there's a difference between meandered rivers and non-meandered rivers. Non-meandered rivers means that the state owns the water going through the river, but not the land under the river, just the water itself. Therefore, you can't legally camp anywhere on that river because it's all private property. But if the river is meandered, meaning that the state owns the water and the land up to the high water mark, that means it's legal to camp anywhere as long as there's a sandbank. So right here, there's a sandbank. That means you can camp on that even if it's next to a state park, and they can't say nothing to you about it. But I tell you what, if you try that, they will get pissed. They will get pissed, and they'll turn into a game of 100 questions, so be prepared. By the way, if you ever want to really have an easy primitive shelter, I mean, this would be perfect for even a stealth camp. You could put a tarp right over this fallen tree, and you would have perfect shelter. It'd be so easy. And always kind of look for stuff that's already built for you as opposed to making it yourself. You know, I heard a quote once, and it said, the best campsites aren't made, they're found. And I have found that to be very true. Very true. This makes no sense. This trail just ends in the middle of the woods here. That makes 0 sense. I don't understand. Is the trail just not finished? Was that what was going on? I really don't understand, because this is all dead. I mean, it just doesn't magically become dead. Somebody was out here. I can't really prove this, but what I think happened is this tree right here fell, and they just quit maintaining the trail. I'm gonna follow this a little ways and see whether or not it actually turns into anything again. So I did see a spur earlier on this trail. Let's follow that and see if it can lead us back out. Finally made it to the trail spur that I was talking about. Let's see if this one will actually lead us out of the park. Okay, so now we are on something called the Savannah Trail. It doesn't look too crazy. It's only 4/10 of a mile. But my goal here is to learn this whole park. Dirt on the lens. So let's explore more of it. Let's keep going. This kind of stuff just drives me nuts at parks. When you come on into a trail and it just ends in a big circle. Like, what's it for? It's not to camp. Because it's the perfect camp spot. Are you supposed to line up stones and do rituals? I don't understand. Magic the Gathering or something? Anyways, let's continue. On another note, not sure what these red dots mean exactly either on these trees. Sorry if I never mentioned it, but we are at Yellow Banks Park, by the way, and we have just found a lovely primitive campsite. Would you look at this? So it's walking only, no vehicles obviously beyond this point. Site is $20 per night. Kind of steep for a primitive campsite, but it is a nice campsite over there. As we make our way through this trail, we should be getting close to some walk-in tent sites where you basically throw on a backpack and you walk in about a quarter mile. Okay, so we are walking up on the primitive campsites. Let's first find out how many they are, how big they are. Let's get all the details. So we got this side here, T14, whatever that means, T14. Campsite, that's kind of interesting how the pit's sunken into the ground a bit there. Good spots for hammocks, tents, whatever you need here. It's a good site. I don't know what it looks like on the weekend or Friday, Saturday, but I can tell you on a Sunday afternoon there's nobody here. T15, another good site. I can tell you personally, I'm actually not going to walk down there, but T16 looks like a little slanted for my liking. T17, now this is a good one. I really like this one. It's small, that's why I like it. Easy to put up a tent, and there's not going to be a lot of people that want it. Good for hammock camping as well. As you can see, all them trees, great for hammock orientations. But this kind of seemed like a nice time to sit down and just have a coffee and relax for a minute. We've been grinding pretty hard today. Now get this coffee going. It sounds really good right now. It's about 4 o'clock, so it is a little late in the day for a coffee, but I'm craving it, so. Wait, is it ever really too late in the day for a coffee? I don't think so. I don't think so. Alright folks, the day's kind of whittling down here. It's 4:30. It's late August, getting to be late August, so sun's starting to set just a tad bit earlier than normal. I don't have my backpack on, don't have the camping gear, so we are going to start head back to the car. This would be a pretty awesome place to grill, wouldn't it? Nice overlook of the pond. That'd be awesome. Am I the only one that thinks $20 for a back-in or walk-in campsite where you don't even have electricity, water, or nothing? It's kind of expensive. It's ridiculous. People wonder why stealth camping's a thing. I'm gonna hand it to this park though. I mean, we found another primitive campsite. So this park has plenty of primitive campsites. I also figured something out. This says T13. I'm assuming there's at least 17 primitive ones because I've seen it go all the way up to 17. Not much to be said about that campsite, by the way. It's just a park, you know, park and camp. Here's a trail. See, number 4. We got 4 here. It says it goes down to here. Like, what? Where does it go? Let's find out. Okay, this is pretty cool, not gonna lie. This is kind of a hidden gem because the overlook here is pretty stunning. See, there's a bit of a trail here. I think I kind of know where that goes. And I think we should follow it because the other trail down there is boring. This one should be a little bit more interesting. I'm not really liking the way this trail is looking. It's gonna be a lot of work to make it through this because it dips into the valley and then it goes back up. We made it back up. Let's see if we can get back onto the trail. Here we go again, where we're going down and then back up. Round 2. Don't know what all these green things are called, but I'm covered in them. Got this beautiful overlook though. So there was a family at that overlook. I didn't record it, but there was a family there. And I'm literally just coming straight out of the woods and they just kind of look at me like, what the fudge is this guy doing? Have a nice park here for the kiddos. They also have a really nice baseball stadium, which surprises me. Like, what is their baseball field doing out here? I just kind of want to recap on the journey. So we went to Yellow Banks Park, I think is the name of the park. Named so because of the soil composition here. It's called a loess soil. It's actually a really rare soil. The only other place in Iowa I'm aware it exists is in western Iowa in the Loess Hills. And yeah, I actually looked at the soil, and yes, it is that special type of soil. Basically, it's very cohesive. It sticks together really strong, so it doesn't collapse. Basically, the soil doesn't collapse under the weight of itself, even with vertical angles. So it's a really special soil, and it provides some really amazing overlooks. Anyways, that's why the park was named Yellow Banks, because of the color of the soil, the way it looks. Really kind of a special soil. we did some reconnaissance. We learned that this place offers many primitive campsites. It offers backpacking campsites for the same price, which is just absurd. A backpacking campsite should be $10 or $12, whatever though. It's just my opinion, and who's say my opinion's any better than anybody else's? But we learned a lot about this park. I've learned pretty much the layout of the park. I've hiked almost every single trail here, so I've learned the whole layout of the park. I've learned what areas people are going to be mostly at. I've learned what areas are most secluded. So now if I ever in the future want to come back here, I can just say, oh yeah, I remember this place I seen when I was out hiking here. So that's kind of how the gears work, how I get my spots, how I learn the land. Here's my final thoughts on this park. Overall, I think your opinion's really going to be determined based off of what type of person you are. So if you have a family, a wife, kids, I would take them here. It's got a playground, it's got water fountains, very family friendly, easy trails, nothing crazy. This is really a family park, in my opinion. And it's even got good trail running. You know what, guys, this is gonna be the last clip of the video, so I just want to appreciate anyone that's actually made it this far. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you coming along on this day hike. This is the first legitimate day hike of the channel, so learned a lot. And you guys might want to keep your eyes peeled. There might be a little Easter egg in a future video. You might be able to say, oh yeah, I remember when you went and explored that place. People are pretty friendly out here too, waving at you. Probably like, God, that guy's so weird, talking to a camera. Anyways, yeah, it was cool. Till next time, guys, peace.